Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz of Utah. He's chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Congressman Chaffetz, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Jim.
Congressman Chaffetz, you heard the Clinton campaign's response to this AP report. They call it utterly flawed, and they point to this, that the vast majority of Clinton's meetings were with U.S. and foreign government officials, those meetings not included in this AP tally. They also make the point, and again, this coming from the Clinton campaign, that Clinton, as Secretary of State, would have met with these people regardless of whether they were Clinton Foundation donors. They give the example of the Nobel Prize winner, the international microfinance expert Mohammed Yunus, as well as other heads of large worldwide charities. In your view, is that a fair response?
Well, after 263 days without a press conference, maybe Hillary Clinton herself could actually do the press conference rather than these spokespeople. The problem is the comments that she has made under oath and the public comments that she have made have turned out to be lies. She's just not telling the truth. And the FBI director is the one that has pointed that out. It started because the Inspector General made a criminal referral to the FBI. By the way, all the other former secretaries of state gladly met with the Inspector General. Hillary Clinton would not meet with the Inspector General. So, you know, these pundits can get out here and try to spin it all they want, but Hillary Clinton herself, I think, has to answer those questions and demonstrate why there's a long laundry list of what she said is different than what the FBI found. It's just she hasn't been telling the truth.
But on the question of the foundation, and that is a fair point, we've challenged the Clinton campaign every day as to why not more press conferences and not more sit-down interviews with members of the press. But specifically on the issue of the foundation, are you saying that she's lying when she says that the majority of her meetings were with U.S. and foreign government officials, and that therefore this AP presentation of this as if half the people she met with were somehow donating to the foundation when that does not include all their meetings? Are you saying that that is inaccurate, that most of her meetings were not with foreign and U.S. government officials?
No, I'm saying the AP story stands for itself. The AP had to go not through the Freedom of Information Act, which you're supposed to do in order to get this information. They had to go to court and get a judge to compel her to give this information. They did this independent analysis. I didn't know it was coming out. And I think it speaks for itself. And she personally, not through a spokesperson, should have to answer that. The reality is it does appear through the direct emails as if our boss, as one of the emails said, there's a connection between what the foundation is doing and what the Secretary of State's office is doing. And remember, she had a key employee who was employed by both. And so this is, it smells like pay to play, and I think she should answer those questions.
Let me ask you about Donald Trump, and I know you have said you will support the Republican nominee. Does Donald Trump's refusal to release his own tax returns, which would show his business interests and might raise questions about potential influence on his own campaign of money interests, or if he were to be elected president, does that not raise the same question? Shouldn't he be equally transparent on his business relationships, his investments, et cetera?
If you're going to run and try to become the President of the United States, you're going to have to open up your kimono and show everything. Your tax returns, your medical records, you're just going to have to do that. It's too important. So both candidates, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, should show both their medical records and their tax returns. Absolutely.
Fair point. And let me ask you, in your position as chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, if either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump is elected president, can we expect a series of public investigations and inquiries on these kinds of topics if either of them is elected?
Yeah. Hey, the Oversight and Government Reform Committee is going to be the place to win no matter who wins this election. I think Republicans, quite frankly, made a mistake when George W. Bush was president and they helped control the House. It seems like through the metrics that they actually let off the gas pedal. So no matter who wins, we have a duty, a responsibility under the Constitution to actually be that check and balance. So I hope to continue to be the chairman of that committee, and I can promise you, I don't care who's in the White House. My job is not to be a cheerleader for the president. My job is to hold them accountable and to provide that oversight. That's what we do.
Congressman Chaffetz, thanks very much.
Thank you.